tech support. So before we get started, we have to do the disclaimer. Basically, this disclaimer says we're not giving any buy, hold, sell recommendations. We're not financial advisors, nor do we want to be. And that everything we talk about in this webinar is for educational purposes only. So who am I? My name is David Kushner. I've been trading the markets for over 25 plus years. I trade stocks, options, futures, and Forex, not much Forex anymore. My background was I had an automotive parts business that I started when I was 18 years old and had that business for over 28 years before I sold it in 2005. And since then, I've been a full-time trader. So like most of you, you probably have a whole shelf or hard drive full of indicators, trading systems that came with a lot of empty promises of helping you become more profitable and more consistent trader. So I know that I have probably 2 or 3 hard drives full of stuff that I no longer use, that I spent a small fortune on. So when I was in a webinar that Mark Sachs did and I saw the money flow tracker software, I quickly realized that this methodology isn't based around the same old indicators that everyone else teaches, but more based on mathematical modeling and triple and quadruple screen analysis. And I'll explain what that is in a little while. Now I only trade with institutional money flow or order flow. So anytime I talk about order flow or money flow in the webinar, it's only going to be institutional money flow or order flow. And it's made me much more profitable, much more consistent, and now I'm running over a 70% win-loss rate. So the agenda for this webinar is how the money flow tracker software works, the high probability setups, the unbreakable rules, how I trade breakouts and sidestep losing trades, the money flow tracker auto trader, and how to pass the evaluations to become a funded trader. So those who stay till the end of this webinar, it's about 45 minutes. I usually try to keep them within an hour. We have a very special discount plus some additional software as a quick action bonus. So why are you here? I ask that question all the time. You're not getting the results you want? Well, look at it this way. You're not here to waste time. I'm not going to waste your time. You're not here to waste money, and you're sick of buyer's remorse, right? So here's the solution. So show me the solution. That's like in the movie. Show me the money. High consistent winning trades and solid performance that repeats daily. And I have all this documented. So you need 4 things to create trading success. What are those 4 things? Software to provide you with the competitive edge over all other traders. And second thing is that edge must be tracking the direction of money flow, institutional money flow. The third thing, etched in stone rules to follow, and this will eliminate discretion. And the fourth thing, which I believe is the most important thing, is patience. Patience to let the trade set up. So I'm going to break down the system in detail, but let me show you a few trades that we've taken with the money flow tracker software. So here's a trade, an options trade on AMC for 139%. Here's another one on GMA for 188%. Here's a trade that I took on 30-year bonds at 41 ticks, $1,281. Here's a trade on the euro. I can sit here and I can show you charts, all these charts with all kind of winning trades, but is that going to help you? No. So I'm here to help you, and I'm only going to present stuff that will help you. So it's likely you have a problem making money. From the poll, that seems to be most people's problems, especially this week. Why? Because you don't have the proper tools to officially manage your trades. You overtrade, you revenge trade, you make impulsive decisions. You lack consistency. You trade with indicators that lag price. You lack a mathematical proven trade methodology, and all these things lead to blowing trading accounts. So here's my commitment to you for coming to this webinar is to bring this to an end. All right. So why do 95 to 98% of traders use the following and go broke? Price action, MACD, Elliott wave, divergence, price patterns, Fibonacci's, Gann theory. All these things have no future predictive property. Now, I am not, and I'm repeating, I am not saying that the money flow tracker can predict the future, because that would be ridiculous. Nobody can predict the future, right? But it gives us high probability setups. So who was Mark Sachs? The one that developed the software had over 35 plus years in the field of applied mathematics. He was a professor at Jefferson University, and after 8 long years, he engineered the software system called the Money Flow Tracker that can improve your trade performance. And we have over 500 traders between our 3 trade rooms that we trade shoulder to shoulder every day. So before we get started, I want to share my trade journal. Now, I use an online trade journal called Edgewonk, and every day I download my performance report. I go to the performance report, I download my trades for the day, I go to the trades tab in the performance report, and I import them into this program. So what it does is it imports, here's the trade ID from NinjaTrader. It imports the time entered, time exit, the market, and everything, right? And then it gives me my equity curve. So this is my equity curve for this year so far. We're up $32,000 this year. Not great. The markets have been really tough. This month, we didn't do any trades on Friday because it was non-farm payroll. And we didn't really have many setups this week. The markets have been really, really, really choppy. But if I show you my monthly reports, you can see that April, we did 7,600. March, we did 9,400. February, we did 10,000. And January, we did almost 5,000. Right? And if I go here, performance by day, this is the last 180 days, right? So we have very few losing days, and we have a lot of really nice winning days. So the reason why I'm showing you this is to prove to you that you don't have to trade every day to make money. Right now, I'm at a 66% win rate, which is, is a little lower than we were last year, but our profit factor is 2.54. So for every dollar we risk, we make $2.54. Okay. And the reason why, if you go back and you look here, let's say March, we have no trades on these days. So we didn't trade in March 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. But in March, we did $9,400, right? If you look at April, we didn't trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in April. In April, we did $7,600. Now, the markets have been really very volatile. There's been a lot of volatility going on. We had about a week or almost 2 weeks of extreme volatility. And it was just very, very difficult to, yes, Lawrence, I trade prop accounts. I trade with Apex and I trade with Buellnox. So, if we don't have setups, we don't take trades, right? And if we don't have setups, means that the market is choppy. Okay, so look, the market consists of many small retail traders represented by these marbles, plus one or more large institutional trader. Well, since you already know that retail traders lose money, why would you want to trade along with them? I don't, and I haven't for the last 4.5 years that I've been trading with the software. I want to trade with the institutional traders because those are the ones that move the market. So the Money Flow Tracker software, let's get into it. I trade anywhere from 6 to 10 accounts. Some days I only trade 2 accounts. It all depends on the markets. If the markets are very choppy and very erratic, I'll only trade a couple of accounts. If the markets are trending and smoother, not with a lot of craziness, I'll trade more accounts. Okay? All right, no problem. So look, the money flow tracker system has 3 key metrics that determine money flow. The first one is triple screen assessment of correlative markets using our AI software. The second one is triple screen assessment of order flow. And the third one is triple screen assessment of the Laguerre for momentum. So what do I mean by triple screen assessment? Basically, I like to keep terminology really easy for people to understand. 3 time frames in agreement, right? If you have 3 time frames in agreement, then you can trade, right? That's triple screen assessment. So triple screen assessment of order flow is the first powerful force that moves price. I know. As soon as I say order flow, people think of these order flow candles with all these numbers on the right, on the left, on the bottom, on the top, on the side, inside out, upside down, and sideways. You can't make good trading decisions trying to trade these type of charts. It's impossible. Your brain can't analyze all this data and make good trading decisions, especially when the markets are really moving. So what we did was we came up with our own order flow candles. No, it's not an algo. All right, our order flow candles look like this. If the outline of the candle is green, means the delta of the candle is positive, and the outline of the candle is red, means the delta of the candle is negative. So in easy terms, and this is the way I look at it while I'm trading, I have green outlines, I have more buyers than sellers. I have red outlines, I have more sellers than buyers. And I just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. The simpler you keep trading, the better you'll do. So triple screen assessment means that we want to see order flow going in the same direction on 3 time frames. Just as easy and simple as that. So I put up a screenshot of our charts because I wanted you to see what our charts look like. All our indicators are represented by these colored lines on the bottom, right? And they're very clean and they're very easy to interpret. So the second most powerful force that moves price is triple screen assessment of the Laguerre for momentum, and also our hybrid candles. So our hybrid candles, so triple screen assessment of the modified Laguerre means the same thing as an order flow. We want to see it going in the same direction on 3 time frames. And our hybrid candles. So when you see these wicks inside the candle, and we're the only ones that have wicks inside Renko bars. So when you see a wick that opens from the previous candle's close and goes up the size of the bar size, so this is, let's say it's a two tick bar size, it goes up 2 ticks, it creates another bar. This candle open from the previous close, goes up 2 ticks, same thing here. Now this candle gave us a pullback, and we use these pullbacks to our advantage, and I'll explain to you a little bit further in the webinar how we use them. So the modified Laguerre is we took all these indicators, we added our own algorithm to them, and developed the modified Laguerre. So the modified Laguerre is an oscillator, but it does not show divergence like other oscillators. It just shows strength of trend. So when it crosses below 20, this will turn, let me go back. When it crosses below 20, this will turn red. When it crosses below up 20 and is sloping up, it'll be lime green. When it crosses over 80, it'll be dark green, and it crosses below and is sloping down, it will be orange, right? So we only trade on red and green, right? We want to see it pinned at 100 or pinned at 0, so we get our acceleration dots, right? So now let's talk about the quants. What do our quants do? Our quants uses AI, and what it's doing is it's examining 28 market components by our AI system for correlation. Now, most people don't pay attention to correlation. Most people understand what correlation is, but we do. Why? Because it's powerful stuff. It's very powerful. So if ES is going up, wouldn't you want to see NQ, YM, and RTY, all the indexes going in the same direction? That's powerful. But let's say you're trading ES and ES is going down, right? But NQ, YM, and RTY are going up. What do you think is going to happen to ES? It'll either stall and go sideways, or stall and go and continue on following the other markets. So what we did was, I said to him, I said, look, we need to figure out some way to add another time frame, because I don't think 3 time frames is good enough to give us the highest probability trades. So we came up with what we call the C2 indicator, and all it does is add another time frame. So what the C2 indicator does is this stair-stepping line above the candles. So when we have the C2 indicator, the stair-stepping line above the candles, we know that we have all time frames in agreement, 4 time frames in agreement. So let's put it all together. It's really simple and it's very easy. And I've taught thousands of traders, and some of them are awesome traders. Most of them are. So the money flow tracker software, the rules and the setups. The first thing we need is a colored background, either green or light pink. That's the bias. The next thing we need is the C2 indicator, because we wanted 4 time frames in agreement. The next rule is we have a solid line and a dot dash line. Always want to see the solid line above the dot dash line going up and below the dot dash line going down. If you run into resistance, also a pivot, the VWAP, other support resistance areas, whatever, you must break that pivot. I'm going to use pivot as an example, by 3/4 of the body of the candle, and then you must wait for a pullback candle. And I'll explain to you why you have to wait for the pullback candle. Okay? Both quants must be in agreement, either red or green. The multiple time frame Laguerre must be in agreement with the quants, red or green. The modified Laguerre must be pinned at 100 or 0, so you get the acceleration dots. So there's the setups. There's the outcome of this trade. 63 ticks. We exit when the dot dash line turns from green to yellow or green to red, or the other way around if you're going short. Just really simple. So this is what I tell everybody, and this is what attracted me 4 years ago to the money flow tracker software. Why I bought it was because trading with the money flow tracker will keep you out of choppy, non-trending markets, which usually leads to losses. And that's where most traders lose money. I've heard thousands of traders tell me the same thing. Gee, David, I make money one day, I have a great day on Monday or Tuesday, and then I lose most of it on Wednesday. And then at the end of the week, I either lost a little money or I made a little money, and I worked all week for basically nothing. So remember, I don't trade every day, and you shouldn't have to trade every day either. So it's okay not to trade every day. Preserve your capital. Preserve your capital. I have probably 5 or 6 of my people in my room are in this webinar, and they all said the same thing in the questions box. Preserve your capital. Preserve your capital. I've taught these people well. So here's a trade I took on crude oil. You can see the market's coming down, broke the pivot. Right? I need a pullback candle. This one happened so fast I couldn't get in. Then I got this one. Got in, I placed my order, sell on down close, got me in the trade, took 10 ticks on my first target, that's $100. 55 ticks on my second target, that's $550. So this trade here was $650, and it only didn't even last a minute. Just happened to catch one of those moves. So the money flow tracker software gives you clear and exact entries, clear and exact exits, and you get all your targets are pre-configured by our ATMs that you get. So I'm going to teach you how I trade breakouts with the money flow tracker software. I call it the pullback and go strategy, and how we sidestep losing trades and and stop runs. All right. So let me grab my pen here. I need to draw on the chart. All right, and let me make it a color that's easy for you guys to see. Okay, so you can see the market's coming down. It runs into this pivot, right? So what do we need? We need the 3/4 candle to break the pivot. So that's right here, this candle here, right? We break it, we get the pullback candle. So as this candle's pulling back halfway or more, that's when I set my order, sell on down close. So why do I do this? Well, because, you know, a lot of times markets break support, the market maker runs down, grabs all these orders that are breakout traders, and then goes back the opposite way. So by waiting for the pullback candle, this eliminates a lot of that. So the market's coming down, pulls back, right? Well, what happens in this case, it continued on down, but what happens if it pulled back and it went up like this? Huh? If it pulled back, if this candle closes up, right? If this candle closes up, the order will automatically get canceled. So we call it sidestep a losing trade. So let me go ahead and remove these drawings, erase all drawings, and get my normal drawing. Okay. So, and this has saved us so many trades. I can't even think about how much it would, how much in dollars wise we've sidestepped. Here's one on RTY. Broke the pivot, got the pullback candle, got filled, first profit target, second profit target. Here's another on crude oil. Here's two of them on the Canadian dollar. Right? I can show you more and more examples, but you know, I just want to get into this and you know, let you understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. I'm going to show you some live charts also, and we'll go through those. So now let's talk about one of my favorite subjects, is the Money Flow Tracker Auto Trader. And it's called the Revolutions. We just call it Revo for short. So what does it do? Well, it took this trade here for 704 ticks. It took this trade here for 665 ticks. It took this trade here for 1,016 ticks. It took this trade here for 792 ticks. So what does it do? So let me open up the strategy and bring down the strategy window. So what were the rules that we just went over? All the rules. We want the bias in the C2, so we turned it on. Now this doesn't wait for a pullback candle. So I have the signal being delayed by 1 bar. So I want the whole bar to clear the pivot or the obstruction or the whatever, right? We want the Laguerres, red or green, right? We want the multiple time frame Laguerre, red or green. The volume threshold I don't worry about because MNQ trades a lot of volume. It's not an issue, never really an issue. We want all the moving averages red or green. We want the trend. We want it based on the trend. The MA diff, I'll explain to you in a little bit what that means. So what the MA diff is showing us in the top left-hand corner is 192, right? So on the MNQ swing trade that we have, we don't trade above 350, right? So we want to clear the pivots. We want to clear the volume zones. We want the quants to be red or green. The first target value is very important. It's one of the key things, right? So for instance, let me grab my pen here again. On this particular chart, if from here to this pivot, if there's not at least 81 ticks, it will not take the trade. It will skip the trade and wait for it to break by 3/4 of a candle. In this case, I have it breaking by a whole candle, right? So it will skip the trade if so basically what I'm saying is you're not trading into support or resistance. If you don't have at least a first profit target, it's not going to take the trade, right? Now, it has, you can have it turn on and turn off whenever you want. I have mine going 24 hours because I turn it on in the morning when I load my charts, right? It has built-in money management. right? Risk management. So we have a lot, and I mean a lot of traders that subscribe just for this particular auto trader. And they have these people that just trade with the Revo strategy. And what they do is they set their target a day for 1,000 and they set their max loss for 500. So it's basically 2 to 1, right? And they turn it on and they go about their day. And when they come home, they're either going to be have lost 500 or made whatever. Now, if you're up 1,500 on a trade, it's not going to close the trade when you reach 1,000. It's going to close the trade. When the trade gets closed, it will not take another trade for the day. Okay, so, and we have it closing about 10 minutes, shutting off about 10 minutes before the end of the session, because if you're trading with a prop firm, you can't hold a trade overnight. So basically what this does, is this follows the rules. It doesn't break the rules. Okay. All right. So here's my equity curve for 2021 and 2022. I lost all my data for 2023, and here's the equity curve for 2024. So we made about $43,000 just on the Revo Auto Trader in 2024. So this was a trade that I took, and I hit my first profit target like in really fast, like less than a minute. So I quickly turned on my recorder because I felt like this was going to be one of those trades that was going to be a monster trade, right? So I recorded it live. So here we could see we're up 186 ticks, and then we're up 270 ticks, and then we're up 399 ticks. Now look at the MA diff up here is 345, right? So when the MA diff gets higher, above our max, I start moving my stop closer to the market. Because when the MA diff gets too high, we expect a pullback within a couple of candles. And it usually does pull back within a few candles, right? So I just kept trailing it up. Now look, it's at 400. So I keep following it up, keep tightening it up. When it gets really high, then I just keep doing it. I just keep capturing and capturing and capturing because I'm expecting a pullback. And look at the MA diff is at 414. Right? We lost the colored background. Now so we ended up getting stopped out on this trade at, let me keep going, 570 ticks. 570 ticks we took on this trade. So think about it. I traded 4 micros, took 2 off at 80 ticks, so that's $80. Took the other 2 off at $570. So that's $650 on this one trade, and all I did was nothing. I just turned it on. Now, these trades are not for the weak at heart, let me tell you, because you have an NQ can be, it could go up and drop 50, 60 ticks in a split second. So you have to not try to watch it all the time, because on these pullbacks, you'll be tempted to take your profit on these pullbacks. You'll be, oh, it's changing direction, I'm going to take my profit. No, stick to the plan. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. All right? It's how you finish. So stick to the plan. What I do is when the MA diff gets high, I'm expecting some pullback candles, I'm moving my stop closer to the market, capturing as much as I can. Yes, it's an auto, Lawrence. It's totally different than the AI auto trader suite. This uses the money flow tracker. Why did that come up? Anyways, all right, so let me go ahead. Oh, this is a screenshot. All right, now we'll talk about how to pass the evaluations. Has nothing to do with your trading style, believe it or not. It doesn't have, it has nothing to do with that. All right. Focus on the process. Don't focus on the carrot. So what do we mean by that? I have two friends of mine. They're both in the financial industry. Actually, one of them is how I got into doing this, trading. John works for a broker, not a brokerage firm. He's a he's a trader. Okay, he's an institutional trader, right? And he told me, he said, he said, people have so much trouble passing these evaluations, and people, you don't realize that, if you focus on the process and you not focus on the carrot. So don't focus on how much money you could make. Focus on how much money you could lose. Manage your risk. That's what he told me. He said, just manage your risk, David, and you'll be fine. Follow your rules of your methodology. Focus on your risk. He said, and you'll be surprised. The profits will take care of themselves. He says, it's really kind of amazing how it does. He said, but it's just focus on trading well. Focus on your system. Take your qualified setups. You can't pick and choose. If you get a setup, you have to take it. Because what's going to happen is if you pick and choose, you're going to pick all the losers and all the winners are going to go bye-bye, right? Without you. Listen, remember, the challenges or evaluations are really designed to make you fail because of the parameters they put in place, like how many trading days to pass. And the biggest one is the trailing drawdown. So if you think that if you sign up for an Apex account or whatever firm you're using, and you try to sign up for a $50,000 account, sounds impressive. Hey, I'm trading $50,000 account. I'm trading $500,000. Wrong, you're not. All right, you're trading your drawdown. So my drawdown of $50,000 account is $2,500. That's my account. I'm only trading a $2,500 account. So my process is I don't risk any more than 10% of my drawdown on any one trade. So my max risk per trade is $250. Well, my win rate is good, and my risk reward is good. So I'm fine. So the win rate versus your risk reward. So if you're a one-to-one trader, you need to be over 50% to be profitable. Now, if you're a 2-to-1 trader, it drops drastically. Do you know that most professional traders are only 40% win rate? But when they're in a losing trade, they manage their risk and they accept their risk. And if they lose on a trade, then they don't freak out. They don't get all bent out of shape. They don't, like, the world isn't coming to an end. They shake it off and they move to the next one because they have far more winning trades than losing trades. And with good risk reward and good money management, you'll be fine. Now, if you're a 3-to-1 trader, it drops drastically. You could be wrong 7 out of 10 trades if you're a 3-to-1 trader and still be profitable. Let that sink in. So rather than avoid risk, take intelligent risk, and this will give you that competitive edge that you're looking for. Just like this little mouse. He wants that piece of cheese. So what did he do? He took intelligent risk. He put on his helmet because his risk is this thing flopping over and hitting him in the head. So he says, if it hits me in the head, so I might get a little bit of a headache, but I'm not going to get killed. So take intelligent risk. Follow your rules. So look, I've showed you the money flow tracker. I've showed you the Revo Auto Trader. I've explained to you how the money flow tracker works. You have two options. If you're profitable and you're making money and whatever, God bless you, continue on your current path. But for most of you, from the poll that I took, you're struggling. And the markets have been very tough lately, but we're not losing money. See, that's the difference between us and other firms, is that we follow our rules. And if we don't have a setup, we don't take a trade. That's it, period. No setup, no trade. So if we don't get setups, we don't get trades. So if the markets are choppy, we're not going to get setups. So that's why we have no trade days. So take action today and join the thousands of traders that we work. I trade only a couple hours a day. Okay. So Charles, I passed 3 evaluated cash today. I can't find any place Apex returners into PA accounts. Can you tell me how to do that? Who did you pass the evaluations account with? Okay, I'm going to keep on going here. So the money flow tracker software gives you the benefits and features. It's very easy to learn. You get all the workspaces and templates. It's perfect for beginners. I wish that I had this 20 years ago. Okay, it's perfect for any account size. I have traders that trade 20 accounts. I have traders that just trade a couple micros. It all depends, on what you want. And you can use this on futures, forex, and stocks, and you can trade options using signals from the stocks. All right. So for the first 10 traders who come aboard, you'll get some powerful additional software and more as a quick action bonus. So this is what you'll get. You'll get the market scanner. Now, my market scanner I don't have it set up like this right now, but forget that it says minutes on the top here. So we use Renko bars. So it doesn't matter whether it's minutes or Renko, right? So let's say you're trading Apple and you're day trading it and you have a buy on a 5-minute. Well, it doesn't mean that you have a setup. It just means you need to go and look at the chart. So you get the market scanner as a $9.99 value. You'll get that included in your package. You'll get the NDT strategy, which is our execution platform. This is what we use to buy on up close, sell on down close. This is where you put your ATM. This is what you use to trade. That's a $14.99 value. You'll get that. You'll get the masterclass series on futures, forex, stocks, and options. I've watched these. They're really good. You'll get 1 month in my trade room. Now, our trade rooms were part of a study. Wasn't the room, it's our whole company, whatever. And it was a study by this Dr. Allen. He reviewed more than 225 trading websites and evaluated them using several factors, including transparency, proven track record, and assisting traders with educational materials and online support. And we came out on top. And this study was published in Traders World and Stock and Commodities Magazine. And I wish I had that because I would put a screenshot up here. So this is what we're doing, our special offer. We're giving 50% off everything. So if you want to sign up, if you want to do a lifetime and you don't want to do a subscription base, it's normally $39.94. It's $19.97, half price. An annual subscription is $11.97, and a quarterly subscription is $5.97. So an annual subscription is less than $100 a month. So how many of you have lost $100 this week? Come on, man up. I did. Everybody's saying me. I lost more than that. I don't want to say how much I lost, but it was a lot more than $100. So wouldn't it benefit you to invest into something that keeps you out of non-choppy, non-trending markets? This is one of the reasons that I first got involved with the money flow tracker software, because I love the fact is that it's rules-based. There's no subjectivity. You either have a setup or you don't. And if it keeps you out of choppy markets, and choppy markets is where most traders lose money, because people think that you sit down in front of your charts in the morning that I'm going to trade and I'm going to make money. And even if the markets are choppy and range bound, not going anywhere, they still try to trade that. Why? Because they feel that they have to make a trade. They cannot just sit here and not make a trade. So we're very picky about our setups. They must be good setups. We must have everything in place. Right? So my commitment to you is, when you subscribe to the Money Flow Tracker software, is to help you become a successful trader. I can help you. I will help you whatever way I can. Remember, if you're not successful, it's not your fault. Okay? If you're not successful, it's not your fault. Let that sink in. You're just not using the right tools to be successful. Right? It's like, and I use this analogy all the time because everybody can identify it. It's like trying to pound a nail into a piece of wood with a screwdriver. Right? You'll sit there and you'll pound on it and you'll pound on it and you'll pound on it. And eventually you'll get it in there. But if you use the right tool, a hammer, 2 or 3 shots and you're done. Right? You know, the money flow tracker software is totally unique and will give you the edge to trade with the institutional order flow. So again, my commitment to you is to teach you not just about how to read the setups. You know, I can teach a 5-year-old to read the setups, and they probably would be a great trader because they have no fear, right? But it's also to help you develop that mental mindset you must have, okay, in order to achieve financial independence, okay? Trading is more mental than anything else, right? You just don't realize it. It is. And I fought that for years and years and years. But it is. It's mental. Because what happens is, this is what happens. Because I've seen it thousands of times. Somebody takes a trade, they lose money. First thing that pops into their head is, how can I get that money back? I need to get that money back. I lost 200 bucks. I'm going to trade until I get that money back. And what happens? Then it turns 200 turns into 400, 400 turns into 1,000, 1,000 turns into 1,500, and next thing you know, they blow the account, right? So you have to have that mental mindset to trade. You can't freak out if you take a losing trade. If it was a qualified setup and it just didn't work, so be it. That's why they call it trading. But if we have more winning trades than losing trades, excuse me, let me grab some water. Okay, we'll keep going. I'll get to the questions, all right? So if you're interested, why is this slide here? That shouldn't be there. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. So look, it's a well-known fact that 95 to 98% of day traders and swing traders are losing money, just like this guy. This is a retail trader. Well, since we know that retail traders lose money, why would you want to trade with them? This retail trader might as well just take his money and flush it down the toilet like he's doing, right? Because that's what they do. They blow accounts. My friend that works for a brokerage firm, he told me, he said, we love when somebody, a retail trader, opens up an account for $5,000 or $10,000. And I said to him, I said, why do you love it? He said, because we know that money's going to be gone within a few weeks or a month, right? But not our traders. Why? Our traders are making money because when the retail traders are losing money, who's taking that money from them? The institutional trader. The institutional traders. So if you know the institutional traders are making money and they're the ones that move the markets, don't you want to trade on their backs? I do. I don't trade unless I have good volume. So I'm always asked, how do we know when institutions are trading? Well, I'm gonna pull over this chart. You see this number that keeps changing on the bottom? This is how many contracts. Now it's going to reset. It's coming up on a minute. So right, it reset it back to 0. It resets every minute back to 0. So when we have a certain amount of contracts coming through the market, we know institutions are trading. And when we don't have a lot of contracts coming through the market, we know they're not trading. So that's how we tell when institutions are trading and we're trading. We don't trade in low volume markets. Okay, let's keep going. So again, this is our special offer, is a quarterly subscription. So you'll get the money flow tracker software. You'll get the auto trader, the Revo auto trader. You'll get the market scanner. You get 1 month of my trade room. An annual, you'll get the same thing. A lifetime, one-time payment, you'll get 3 months of my trade room. All right. The best value here is 1197 or 1997. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you guys something and gals something, because we have a lot of gals in here too. And I have a bunch of women in my trade room, and they make great traders. I'm having a moment here. I'll think about it. I'll get back to that thing. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So look, if you're interested, or you're going to subscribe and use the Money Flow Tracker software, right? You have to be 110% committed to it. When I purchased the software 4.5 years ago, I said to myself, this is the last thing that I spend money on is for trading. I will be, if I'm not going to be 110% committed to this methodology, which I really like and I understand, and it makes it very simple for me to trade. If I'm not going to be 110% committed, then don't buy it. Okay? You have to be 110% committed. So let me show you something really quick here in my EdgeWonk. Right? I'm going to show you what we did last year in 2024. Right? Here's my equity curve. We did $120,000 last year trading. I had a 75% win rate and a profit factor of 3.40, 3 to 1, 3.5 to 1. Right? You can't get these results. And look at days that we didn't trade. So for instance, I live in Central Florida. And I'm going to show you something. When was the hurricanes? It was like later in like October. Okay, so I'm going to show you this because we had a lot of days we didn't trade. So I live in Central Florida. We didn't trade on the 2nd. We didn't trade on the 7th. 9th, 10th, and 11th was Hurricane Helene came and skirted the west coast of Florida. So I live closer to the west coast than the east coast. So I didn't trade these 3 days because I didn't want to, because we're having a storm come through, and I didn't want to maybe lose my internet or lose my power in the middle of a trade. And what am I going to do then? You know, my cell phone uses a signal booster that plugs into the wall, so I couldn't even use my cell phone. But look at this. So we didn't trade these 3 days, and then a week later, Hurricane Milton came across the state on Thursday and Friday, so I didn't trade those days. But look at this. I didn't trade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. 8 out of 20 days I didn't trade in October. What did I do in October? $11,511. November, $12,859. My best month was June, $19,771. Look, if I go back to June, my best month, how many days didn't we trade? 1, 2, 3, 4. Only had one losing day in June. Only one losing day in June. So this just proves, let's go to July. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days we didn't trade in July. What did we do in July? $13,834. This year started off to a little bit slow. Why? New president, tariffs, this, that, market's very uncertain. You know, you just don't know. But if you realize this, is that even though it's been slow this year, we're still making money every month, and we're doing fine, while other traders are losing money trying to trade these markets. So this is a video reel. We have like a ton of our traders on here, but this particular woman I always highlight because she has a friend that is in my trade room, and she asked him to teach her how to trade. And he told her, look, I don't really want to teach you how to trade, because he didn't want to feel responsible if she failed. So we told her to contact Mark at Rightline. And so she did. So she contacted Mark and she said, Mark taught me things. So he sat her down in front of a computer, taught her the setups. For 4 months, all she did was trade the setups. If she has a green background and everything is lined up, take the trade, buy on up close. If you have a dark pink background and everything is lined up, take the trade, sell on down close. So she did this for 4 months. So to make a long story short, she's now a six-figure trader. And I spoke to her on the phone and I asked her, do you trade every day? And this is exactly what she said to me. She said, no, Mr. David, I don't trade every day. If I don't have no setup, I don't take no trade. And so we had a long conversation about that, how people are very impatient and they just want to trade and push the button, but she was taught in the very beginning, if you don't have a setup, you don't take a trade. This was a email that was written in from David P. I call him David P. in my room. This guy was in a webinar just like you were. And he wrote me in the questions box. He says, I am the world's worst trader. I've been doing this for a long time, and it seems like all I do is spin my wheels. He says, I really like this software. I really like what you're doing and this and that. Will you help me? So I said, absolutely. So like he writes, I started watching David Trading Room every morning, learning his methodology and rules for trading. We only take specific setups. When we follow the rules, we have a 70% win rate. I have 7 accounts at Apex and 7 accounts at Buell Knox. Well, now he has 20 accounts at Apex. He's got 10 accounts at Buell Knox, and he has accounts with a couple other firms, right? So he writes here, the money flow tracker software, along with David's methodology and rules for trading, allow me to act like a robot and eliminate any guesswork and emotion from my trading. He says, we use the NDT, which allows us a single push button to enter the trade when we see a correct setup. So following the rules every day, it's simple. See the setup, push the button, see the setup, push the button, see the setup, push the button. Right? So a couple weeks ago, he sent me a message in the questions box, and he said, plus $4,265, trading only 4 accounts, I could ring the bell, and he was done for the day, and he only traded not even an hour. 40 minutes he traded. Well, an hour and 40 minutes. No, an hour. An hour and 6 minutes he traded. Okay. So if you are going to subscribe or purchase the software, be committed. It's not where you start. So if you've spent a lot of money on different things, and if you're not getting the performance you want, or you're not doing very well, or you're confused, or believe me, I understand that because I'm a trader. So I understand how it is to be a frustrated trader. I haven't been a frustrated trader in over 4 years. I'm very relaxed when I trade because I just sit back and wait for a setup. When I wait for a setup, I put my hand on the mouse and I push the button. Just like David said, see the setup, push the button. So again, we're doing 50% off. We don't do this very often, but 50% off on a lifetime for $19.97. You can have a methodology that will last you forever, because the markets they change, but they're always going to be there, hopefully, right? So hold on a second. So if you would like to subscribe, if you go to the chat window, not the questions window, and go to webinar, there's a link in there. I'm going to click on the link, right? Scroll down to here and click on sign up. So if you want to do a yearly, click on sign up. You don't need a coupon, it's already applied. So you can see here, I'm waiting because for some reason this always just resets on me. So the money flow tracker software, $23.94, like it just did. I don't know why it does that. I think it's this stupid thing, I can't get rid of it. So look, it's $23.94, 50% discount, $11.97. You're paying $11.97. You're getting the money flow tracker. Charles will install it for you. He'll log into your computer. He'll install everything for you. You'll get the Revolutions Auto Trader. You'll get the NDT. You'll get the Masterclass series, and you'll get the room. And when you re-subscribe next year, you'll pay the same price as you paid this year. Okay, so that's all you have to do is just click, put all your information here, click here. We'll contact you. You'll set up an appointment with Charles, and he will install the software for you. And then you'll come into the room, and I'll take over from that, helping you, coach you, and teach you. Okay, so if you would like to speak with us and are interested in the software and you have more questions, put your name and your phone number in the questions box. You have no obligation, and we're not going to call you 5 million times, bugging you and bugging you and bugging you. And we'll give you a call after the webinar, and you can ask as many questions as you want. Okay, Luke. Quarterly, Faina, sorry if I'm not making your name. The quarterly is $597 for the quarterly. But if you're going to spend $597, and look, I'm going to tell you like this. I've been where you are if you're a frustrated trader, right? And I said this a little while ago, commit to something. We commit to things in our life all the time, right? Commit to this. Stick with it. Subscribe for a year and say, you know what? I'm going to stick with it for a year. That's what I did when I first saw it. I said, you know what? I'm going to sign up for a year. I'm not going to do the lifetime. I'm going to just sign up for the year. The software works on NinjaTrader. The software, so commit to a year. Say, you know what? I'm going to learn this software. It works. And I'm telling you what I did. I said, I'm going to subscribe to this software. It works. At first, when I first was in a webinar like you are with me, I was in a webinar like with Mark. At first, I was a little hesitant and this and that, but it's just like, I'm going to show you a chart, a live chart. So let's pull up a live chart here of MNQ. Where is it? MNQ, that's not it. Where is it? Where's my charts? Oh, there it is. Okay, so here's a live chart. The markets are actually open, right? So look, how simple is this? How simple is this? Let's go back to where we started trading. And the wicks don't stay in the candles when you shut down NinjaTrader, they go away. It's a NinjaTrader thing. They stay in the candles when I opened my platform at 6:30. So then they started producing the wicks. But look, here's a pivot. Here's higher time frame support. Would you trade into this? No, I wouldn't. Okay. First of all, you have the C2, but you don't have the multiple time frame Laguerre red. So there's no trade. Here you had everything red, but you'll be trading into a pivot. So what did I say? You have to wait for 3/4 of a candle. So this is like a quarter, this is like a half, this is like 3/4. Here's the pullback candle. Well, we couldn't take this trade because the short-term quant turned yellow, so we didn't take the trade. So there would have been a loss. Let's go. And this is just when the market opened. This isn't even trading today. Here's a trade. Okay, broke the pivot, 3/4 of candle, got the pullback candle, got at least first profit target. I wouldn't have taken this trade here because I'm not looking for first profit targets. And if you're looking at the hard right edge, you don't know what's going to happen, right? It's always easy to look in hindsight. But this was at 3 o'clock. Not taking this trade. Too much resistance up here, so you're not taking it. And it's simple. It's very simple system to learn. It's very simple to trade. The quants don't go that far back. Okay, so that's what the charts look like. Here's a chart on the revolutions. This is the one I use for the revolutions, right? It's a higher tick value. So look, here was a trade this morning that it would have taken, right? Would have taken it on this bar here. Exit on line change, 215 ticks. And that was at 11:40 this morning. Did we have any others? This one here would have got first profit target and stopped out at break even on the second. Any more? There's a couple here. This was last night. This was when the market reopened last night. Had a couple of nice trades, right? So the Revolutions Auto Trader is an awesome tool. I use it all the time. What is the MA diff? All right, I'll explain to you. The MA diff is how far away from the 50 are we? When the market gets too far away from the 50, we are expecting a pullback handle within a couple bars. Okay, so when you get too far away, the market will revert back to the mean. All right, so the MA diff is very important to us on when we take a trade. You don't want to take a trade. Let's say you're trading just NQ and the MA diff is 115, right, on a smaller bar size. Well, you don't want to take a trade at 100, or I won't even take a trade at 95 because it's at the end. You're late to the party. If you don't take it when you first do, then what good, you have to take the trade before the MA dip gets, I hate using these words, but oversold or overbought. So you don't want to take a trade when it's getting just about oversold or overbought. And I don't like saying oversold or overbought, but it's the only way I can express that to you. You want to take the trade as close to the 50 as possible. Those are the best trades. Okay, I don't know what the MA diff here was, but this would have been your trade for the day. You're one and done, 215 ticks. Now, if you were trailing it and the MA diff was getting a little higher, you probably could have got a little bit more. But here's the thing is, if you're going to trade a methodology, you have to follow the rules. And why? Because the rules work. No, Barry, the 120,000 profit was not just the Auto Revolutions Auto Trader. It is a mixture of both. Okay, let's see, that's it. All right, so there was a couple of questions. I think the room is 127 a month. I'm not 100% sure. Lawrence, Rory will give you, Terry, Lori will be giving me a call. Luke, Lori will be giving me a call. Oh, hold on a second, he's sending me a message. Sending a message. He says, I want you to congratulate Celia, Sergio, Hugo, Terry, and Jacob. Welcome to the Money Flow Tracker software. I look forward to working with you in the trade room and teaching you how to trade. And, the hardest thing to learn about trading is being patient. You get a call tomorrow. If you subscribe this evening, you'll get a call tomorrow. Barry, we would work with you if you wanted on something, but there is no money back guarantee. You can't do money back guarantees, but we're not, if you're not happy or whatever, we'll make it right for you. Let's see. Terry asked, he says, David, will the Revo keep you out of choppy markets? I have 12 300K Apex PA accounts. I have a fear of blowing these accounts because I have blown many in the past. Welcome to the club, Terry. All right, so look, this is what I tell you and this is what I tell all my traders, is that trade micros. Trade micros until you build up a good balance in your account. There's nothing wrong with trading micros. I trade micros all the time. Sometimes, okay, for instance, like remember I told you I only risk $250 on any one trade. Well, on NQ, we use a 40 tick stop. So if I trade regular NQ at $5 a tick, that's $400 for 2 contracts. My risk, it's too high. So I trade 6 micros, and that keeps me within my risk parameters. Yes, Barry, you will get a recording of this either later this evening or in the morning, or maybe go out late this evening. What else? There was another question here that I didn't answer. Oh, Charles, is you trading with wealth charts? What, do they have their own prop firm now? I had wealth charts from the very beginning. It was terrible. All right, I think I got to everybody's questions here. I got to everybody's questions. So look, like I said before, what turned my trading around was that I committed myself to a methodology. Okay, believe me, I'm not gonna hide it, or I'm a trader. That's what I do. I'm more of a trader than doing webinars. I like teaching people. I've taught hundreds of thousands of traders. I like teaching people. I like people say when they tell me, I made $2,000 today, or I made $500 today, or I made whatever, because it makes me feel that I've accomplished something with them, that they've achieved their goals, and every single person in the trade room has been 110% committed to the methodology. And when you commit to something and stop looking for that shiny object, because this is what happens. You get a system, it works good for maybe a few weeks or whatever, then it's not working. So what do? Throw it in the toilet, you can go get another one. That one stops working, or you're not doing good with that one, you throw it in the toilet, you go get another one. And it's just an endless cycle. Well, the cycle has to stop. It has to stop, and you have to be 110% committed to what you're doing and the methodology. I know it works. A couple hundred people that I have in the trade room every day know it works because they trade with me every day. And I've been trading with this software for the last 4.5 years, and it's turned everything around. Do you have to buy NinjaTrader optimization? No, there's nothing to optimize. Okay, there's nothing to optimize. All right, everything, unfortunately, we have to follow what the markets are doing. And if the markets are choppy and non-trending, then we don't take trades. When the markets are trending, or even if we have a big range, yeah, we could trade those ranges. But if the markets are choppy, you're not going to get setups. So it's going to keep you from losing trades, because choppy markets are exactly what they are. They chop you up and spit you out, and they could care less. The market doesn't care what you do, So we only take our setups, and if we don't get setups, we don't trade. And we call that preserving our capital. So I'm going to end the webinar here because I went longer than I usually do, but I wanted to answer everybody's question. And everybody that put their number in here, we have about 6 people here to put their number in here. We'll give you a call. Roy will give you a call after the webinar, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. Look, I'm biased because not just because I'm doing the webinar, it's because I'm a user of the software also. Okay, so thank you for attending. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And if you do want to put your phone number in and have us give you a call, Rory said that anybody that put their phone number in will be locked in and get all the extra bonuses. Hey, look, the Revolution's Auto Trader is worth $11.97 a year by itself. I showed you in my presentation here, this is my equity curve. Let me see. Let me go back to that. I could just trade this every day and do very well. Okay, I made 43,000, 44,000 last year just on the Revo. I could double my contracts and make double that. Just because I did that last year doesn't mean it's going to be the same this year. But I can tell you from experience is that right now the markets are every little piece of news comes out, it reacts. And it's a little tougher right now to trade, but we're not losing money. And that's the whole key. We're not losing money. So have a great night. Thank you again for attending this webinar. And I look forward to working with all the people that already subscribed and working with the new people that are going to subscribe after you speak with Rory. Have a great evening, morning, afternoon, depending where you are. I have traders from Asia. I have a bunch of traders from Australia, South America, India, all over the world. We have traders that I trade with every day. So good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And I look forward to working with you. Thank you for attending. Bye-bye.